Super Eagles flying. Look at them soaring into second place in Group D behind the already qualified Croatia. You have Nigeria, Iceland and Argentina going into the final day of this group, all in the hunt for a place in the last 16 alongside Croatia. Richie, it's complicated stuff.
Yeah, I thought this was going to be one of the toughest groups to call before the tournament. The situation at the moment is a win for Nigeria in the last day against Argentina. They're guaranteed to be through. Argentina must beat Nigeria to go through, but they must beat them by more than Iceland beat Croatia if Iceland do win because of the inferior goal difference. Iceland must beat Croatia by at least the same margin as Argentina beat Nigeria in order to make sure they go through. Really, really tight group to call, but it's a lifeline for Argentina. This time, or rather 12 hours ago, we were assuming it was the end of the tournament for Argentina, given the performance, the backlash we spoke earlier about, the morale. It's going to be a hell of an effort now for Sampaoli to lift those Argentina players to come back and give a result and the performance that they need. But Nigeria will be boosted going into that final game, given the performance they gave, particularly in the second half today.
And Michael, a fantastic result for Nigeria, but you know, Iceland, as was mentioned here at half-time, and the lads mentioned it on commentary, in that heat, they did wilt, and recovery now is a huge issue for them ahead of that final game against Croatia.
Yeah, it's massive. It's the biggest part between the games. You know, they put an awful lot into the game. We talked about how you know, they were the dominant team in the first half, but Nigeria were a different side in the second half. No doubt the goal quickly after half-time, you know, changed the momentum, changed the confidence in the team, and they looked a decent side in the second half. They created, you know, numerous opportunities. 2-0 didn't flatter them at all, and you know, the result has given Argentina a lifeline, but it's given Nigeria a massive boost as well. You know, their destiny's in their own hands now. So, you know, they've turned it around from being very negative to, after a game and a half, to suddenly in a really positive situation. Yeah,
because Liam, they were like Argentina. They were hugely criticised at home for their performance in the first game, where people questioned their effort, their commitment to the jersey, all that stuff.
Well, they looked nervous, they lacked belief. I don't know what happened at half-time in the dressing room today, because the same first half, they looked as if they were struggling. Whatever the coach did at half-time worked. They looked a lot livelier. They passed the ball on the floor. There was good combination play. Musa was obviously the man of the match with his 2 goals, and great goals as well they were. Yeah, big result for them. I thought the 3 central defenders, they played 3 at the back today, they did well. Omera, Ekon and Balogun. And, you know, looking at them, Argentina, I'd say will have difficulty in scoring the amount of goals they probably will need to score. So, great finish to the group we've got to look forward to. But well pleased for Nigeria. I thought they were down and out at half-time. I do think the heat had a lot to do with Iceland falling away in that second half.
Yeah, well, we had a really exciting second half and a hugely significant second half for Nigeria. They jump into second place in the group, but anything will happen or could happen on that final day. It's their first win of the competition after a disappointing opening day, and we go into the final day of this group with Croatia already through, but we've got 3 teams vying for 1 remaining place in the last 16. We're going to have a look at the key moments of the second half, and Michael, we got a glimpse of it there. Musa's goal 3 minutes into the second half was a fabulous goal.
Brilliant goal, came at the right time. We look at it here. It's Amuru who goes and heads it. We've highlighted Moses. But the big thing is, this is the first time that Iceland have overcommitted. 7 men up, and now they're in trouble. Musa does great. He wins the ball here. This is Moses again, joined in further up the attack. It's 2v2 at the back, and Musa has a great touch and a brilliant finish. But it was the one thing, the throw-in left them short at the back, something we hadn't seen earlier in the game. You know, I don't know if they come out after half-time. They got a little bit, you know, lax in terms of their preparation or their set-up from the throw-in. And it's a decent ball in, but it's a fabulous touch and it's a fabulous hit. And it was just what the game needed, and certainly it was just what Nigeria needed. But they'll look back, Iceland, and think, why did we have 7 men up? It's uncharacteristic of them. They do commit at throw-ins, but it's uncharacteristic of them to leave themselves exposed as they did to the counter-attack.
To that extent, yeah, OK. And we're going to see Musa, Liam, in action again, 15 minutes from the end. This was the clincher, it sealed it.
Yeah, well, I think it was O'Meara again. Clearance, come pass, and he's onto it like a flash. And he skins Arneson, leaves him for dead, and then he starts toying with the goalkeeper, Halderson. You know, it's amazing what a goal can do for you as a striker, and I reckon that first goal gave him the confidence to go and do this. Cost a lot of money from CSKA to go to Leicester City. Like, he's a talented lad, really talented lad, but he didn't do it in the Premier League. He plays well for CSKA. He's fast, he's nimble, and he was absolutely brilliant in that second half. And he's the hero of how many people there? 180 million?
100, yeah, 188, something like that, you can imagine.
What a good goal it was, wasn't it?
Yeah, great finish, great composure. And it's funny, Iceland left themselves 2v2 there at the back again, so, you know, the 2 goals, when they look back, they'll go, it's totally out of character from what, you know, what our trademark is or what our success has been as a team.
Yeah. We had a VAR incident earlier on. That goal did turn out to be the clincher, but Iceland had a lifeline. There was a VAR intervention, Richie, and then ultimately the missed penalty. But give us your view on the way this transpired.
It was. Iceland didn't create many opportunities themselves in the second half. They were disappointing on that front. But this is an incident. There's a clash between Abui and Finn Bogason here. Finn Bogason goes over and the referee initially doesn't give a penalty, but we can see the replays there. It's clearly, I think, a kick in the back of his shin. You can see it there. His left foot kicks his left foot and he goes down. It's clearly in the box. The referee is obviously alerted to this by his colleagues in the VAR office, and it, for me, correctly gives the decision. So I think it's a good use of the technology, and the support systems are there. It supported the referee to avoid making what would have been a game-changing error by not giving that penalty. So he did give the penalty, so in my view it's the right outcome. But an awful penalty then by Sigurdsson. Yeah. So,
and that penalty missed, and they might have got back in the game, but even if they didn't get back in the game, that goal could have been hugely important in how the group's going to pan out with goal difference. It could all come down to goal difference. And
the miss, like, we were all surprised. I know Brian mentioned on commentary about Sigurdsson missing a lot of the latter part of the season. Okay, you know, they're great penalties when they're scored. They're awful when they're not scored.
Yeah,
he's sorry for the guy.
Listen, he's excellent. We saw that in the game in terms of his delivery from set pieces. He's going to go high. I never like that 2-step penalty, because if you do go high and it goes wrong, then obviously you don't even get the chance of a rebound, for example. So, as I say, look back, and it was a chance to give themselves a lifeline, but unfortunately he didn't take it.
Were you guys okay with that, the VAR intervention there and the way it transpired, yeah?
Yeah, I think the decision was right. I think Abui was little bit reckless, a little bit rash in his challenge, and you know, the guys in the video department were right.
Because the Icelandic player, like, where was he? If he'd got the ball, where was he going? Like, Abui just...
Well, that's why I mean he was rash there. He wasn't going anywhere. He wasn't threatening the goal. He should have just stood out of the way and let him carry on, and then close him down after that.
Fair enough, OK. We have the other Nigerian chances from the second half, Michael. You're going to talk us through these. Yeah,
as we saw, like, you know, a team that created nothing in the first... This is the total difference. Look at the space. We never saw that space in the first part of the game. It's a great run. And that was early in the second half. I think that was within 2 minutes of the second half. And suddenly space starts to open up. There, you know, the ball, we never saw this type of combination play. Inside again. Good, comfortable possession. The men up and high. It's a good strike. Takes a little deflection, a decent save. I think it's Tui has the strike, and it's a good save from the goalkeeper. Again, comes wide here. Victor Moses, we didn't see him in this area of the pitch too much in the first half. Second half, good strike again, off the corner. Good header, could have done a little bit, maybe should have done better in that situation. And they just look like a total different team. Their confidence was up. Again, keeps him on here. Good little piece of play, comes right back to Musa. And he's denied, the crossbar denies him the hat-trick. Lovely effort off his right foot, and Moses with a follow-up. But they just played with so much more confidence in the second half. They all wanted the ball. They were chasing things in the first half. They didn't have any structure to their play. And in the second half, as I say, we saw loads of this where they're breaking. Again, John Obi Mikel plays a nice ball in here. Musa again. He's back on himself. Bit of composure. And I think it's Iniacho tries to give the goalkeeper the eyes. But all of that link-up play between Musa, between Iniacho, Moses up on the far side. You know, it was a transformation in terms of how they played, and I didn't think the system suited them in the first half, but having seen how they played in the second half, you know, the coach made the right decision. He made a substitution at half-time that gave them a little bit more on the left-hand side, but the system did suit them in the second half.
Liam, do they strike you as the sort of team now, and the mentality of Argentina is going to be fascinating going into that last game, who can they cause Argentina mega problems in this final game, Nigeria?
Wow. They're obviously going to go in. They're obviously going to go in a very different team to the way they came into the match today. I thought the first half they were poor. They were unsure of themselves. But they grew into that game. I thought, as Michael said, I thought the three at the back worked. They're all big, strong. They can head the ball. They're fast. And they've got Musa and Iniacho on the break. So looking at the way Argentina have played the first two games, I think any team could give Argentina a bit of a problem. Yeah. They're a mess. They're not organised. They're indisciplined. But they'll look upon that as a lifeline, you know. Messi, who we probably went to his hotel room last night thinking his World Cup was over, he'll look at that now and he'll say, well, if I can have a real good game, one of my best games, and everything clicks and we can win 2, maybe 3-0 against this Nigerian team, the whole complexion changes.
All bets are off.
Yeah, the flip side is, of course, I mean, we touched earlier on the media reaction to their performance and the result last night. If Croatia were to beat Iceland, so it was up to Argentina to simply beat Nigeria to qualify, and they don't, the media reaction at home will be pretty harsh.
Argentina need to score first, because then Nigeria will have to come out and try and win the game, and then that will give Argentina the opportunities, I think, to go and exploit that. And they need something that will settle them into the game as well. I don't think they'll have a difficulty lifting themselves as a team, because, as Liam touched on, they were on their way home, and now they have. It's not in their own hands totally, but it's as good as they could have hoped for given the start they've had in the competition. And
a point you made just earlier on about the Iceland-Croatia match. Croatia are gone through. Their manager Dalic has said, we're going to rest a few players. Now, on the face of it, you'd say, OK, that maybe gives Iceland an advantage. That's been an energy-sapping match tonight, and you'll have guys coming in for Croatia who want to make a point.
Yeah. Well, the other side of that is exactly that. If you go to a World Cup and you're one of the 23 players, the opening 2 games, you've got little or no game time. You're not going to waste the opportunity. You're not just going to go through the motions. You know, Croatia will not lose lose the momentum that they've got in the opening 2 games. And as you rightly say, you know, Iceland don't have the resources to make a lot of changes to freshen the team up. I would expect the starting lineup to be along the same lines. And, you know, I think that whatever team Croatia put out will be good enough to beat them, to be honest.
It's going to be an amazing last day in that group.